All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Friday, January 30th in the NBA. We have a 9-game slate to talk about in this one, and we cannot be stopped. We're freaking on a heater. We're on I don't know what else to say. We're 2015 Steph Curry. We're Game 6 Klay Thompson. We can't be stopped. We dominated. 4-0 sweep yesterday. 4-1 the day before that. 3-0 the day before that. We're on a crazy run. January has been insane. So if you're new around here, definitely stick around. I got some plays that I'm liking for today, and that's what we're going to run through. But first, let's go over the recap of yesterday's video picks like we always do. And of course, like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment something down below. Let's get this video to 100 likes so I can get another play in the pinned comment down below. You guys got to like 93 yesterday or something like that. So we did not add another pinned comment play, but I think we can get there today because we're on fire. So there it is, the winning day. And again, I said a sweep. We lost a 0.2 unit play on a plus 185 double-double line for Moussa Diabate. But Moussa Diabate did cash his 9.5 points line. He got 10 points. We threw 0.8 units on that. So I'm counting that as pretty much a full win there. Kelly Oubre under his 4.5 rebounds. Again, almost confusion why this is plus money on the under, but he goes under. He has 3. He played 37 minutes. He had 4 points in that game. He didn't do much of anything, but yeah, he wasn't rebounding well. 3 rebounds in that game. Mark Williams, we just read that one like a book. He had 4 points, 6 points, maybe played 24 minutes or so. Just horrible matchup for him against the Pistons. And the Suns go out and they get that win. So remember, we were talking about that spread being kind of weird. The Suns handled business without Booker, and Mark Williams, non-factor in that one once again. And then Jalen Williams with Hartenstein coming back. He played limited minutes, but Jalen Williams actually played like 20 plus minutes in this game, but he still ends with 10 PRA. The Thunder got kind of rocked around as well with the Timberwolves winning that thing. So plus 3.18 units. And again, I'm going to show the January, pretty much what we've done in January altogether. But since January 14th, something clicked in my mind, and we are on plus 21.55 units since January 14th. That includes all of our, plus money losses in there. You're going to see red. Obviously, we don't win every single pick, but we have been crushing it since that 14th. And again, the beginning of January wasn't amazing or anything like that. So in January alone, up 15.61 units. 50-50 plays are up about 10 units. Plus money plays are up about 5 units, going 18-18. Again, that's plus money for a reason. We've just been crushing it. I'm very excited with what we've been able to do, and just winning slips on YouTube. You can't really beat that. I would like to see the views go up. I mentioned every single time, but I really do appreciate all the subscribers I have that are continuing to watch every single day, and everyone that comments down below. We're not getting a ton of views, but it lets me know that you guys are still with me when I see those comments come through and things like that. So let's get into the picks for today. Again, 9-game slate Friday. Can't really beat that. There are a couple teams on a back-to-back, so we'll mention that first. And then let's break down the first play. So we had a decent-sized slate yesterday, and we got a 9-game slate today. That means definitely some teams on a back-to-back. I believe there are 5, and that's going to be the Brooklyn Nets, the Denver Nuggets, the Detroit Pistons, the Sacramento Kings, and also the Washington Wizards. So I always want to mention that because people could absolutely pop up on the injury report at some point in the day because they're on a back-to-back. If they're sore through shoot-around, you want to be wary of that. So jump into Props Madness, start talking about our plays. If you're watching this video and you're like, dang, I got to try this tool out, you can. There's a link in the description down below, 25% off your first month. It lets them know that I sent you there. It's a great way to support the channel as well. And Props Madness, the best visual research tool out there, hands down, no question. So many cool filters to mess around with, and you're going to see it featured in this video. And I have a lean. This might be an official video pick. Stay tuned for the recap if I end up actually going with this. The initial look at this Brooklyn Nets Jazz game, I was like, ew, disgusting, too many injuries, Nets on a back-to-back, gross. The more I look into it, I'm actually leaning towards the Brooklyn Nets to win this game on the road. They're plus money, they're plus 114, and the Jazz don't have Lauri Markkanen. I was just looking at this, and I was like, dang, I see Michael Porter Jr.'s face. This guy can be a bucket. Keontae George can also be a bucket, but in games without Lauri Markkanen this season, they have literally won one game the entire season without Lauri Markkanen. And the one game they won was with Keontae George going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he played hero ball, 43 points in that game. Nurkic had a triple-double in that game. He had all the stars aligned for them to get this win. And that was against a pick-and-roll defense that's very weak. They let Keontae George cook them. This is a completely different defense. I think Keontae George might not have the best game in the world. And if he can't score 43 without Lauri Markkanen, it doesn't look like they can win a game. Now, the Nets aren't much better, and they're on a back-to-back, and they're away. So maybe I'm crazy here, but they still have MPJ, and he, in turn, has a great matchup here. In back-to-backs, I want to see how good he's been. Oh, he's been so bad. I don't know. This might end up not being a play at all. Just wanted to point it out. They're plus money, and I don't know, the Lauri Markkanen less Jazz are just absolutely horrible, and Keontae George is a horrible matchup here. So I would lean Brooklyn Nets. Honestly, they might find themselves as an official pick. So moving to our first definite official video pick, it's going to be Jarrett Allen. Again, wait till I do the recap to see if the Nets actually make it onto the official report. It's a weird one betting on the Nets away in a back-to-back set with all the injury news, potentials, question marks, and things like that. But I might find myself to get to them. But Jarrett Allen, I really love here, especially at 13.5. That's available on the score right now at minus 125. If you're available, or if you have Hard Rock available in your state, it's minus 105 right there. And if you find this at 14.5, I think it's still playable, but I need to show you the stats here. Now, why am I going to Jarrett Allen? The hit rate's only 45%, and he doesn't have the most amazing matchup. You can see in the column for Props Madness, dominant player type, dominant defensive rating. This is a good defense overall. They don't allow like a ton of points in the paint. But I do like to see Mark Williams has not been playing very well. He'd be the biggest guy out there to defend a guy like Jarrett Allen. And with Mark Williams out there and Jarrett Allen out there, Jarrett Allen still sizably matches up with him. And I think Jarrett Allen probably a little bit stronger than a guy like him too. But here's the big thing, no Mobley and no Garland. Even just with no Mobley, he's over this line in 71% of games, but he lands on 14 a lot of those games, which I don't love to see. What I do like to see is with both of these guys out, you can see their stats. I'm on the field goals attempted. You can see down here, now this is field goals attempted, 8.7 season average. Without these two guys in the lineup, jumps to 15.5. So, he had this massive game against the Heat. Donovan Mitchell didn't play that game, but Donovan Mitchell did play this game, and Jarrett Allen still shot 11 times, shot very efficiently, got to the free throw line, and they won that game by 30 points. So he only had to play 24 minutes. So he played efficiently in that game. He's just more involved without these guys in the lineup. Even just without Mobley in the lineup, again, jumps up to a 10 shots per game in these games. So Mobley at 13.5 looks pretty dang good. Is it the most amazing matchup? No, but it's not really a great matchup for anyone. This is a good defensive team, the Suns are. Their offense has been pretty much carried by Dillon Brooks, and their defense continues to be very aggressive on the three-point line and everything like that. So they're number one in terms of three-point defense. If there's any weakness, it's the corners, and then it is that interior and within the three-point line. They just run a lot of guys off the three-point line, which I think in turn could lead to a guy like Jarrett Allen having the best matchup, even though it's not a great matchup for him overall either. You can look at players that play similarly to Jarrett Allen. These are just centers that are like him. Jalen Duren had 23 points against this team yesterday. Again, the Suns aren't a back-to-back. The Cavs are more rested. And then positionally, just in general, a lot of centers going over the lines too. So Jarrett Allen, not been a very trustworthy guy to go to, especially in points this season. But he has been going over this 13.5 line a decent amount without Mobley in the lineup. And without Garland and Mobley in the lineup, obviously there's a huge uptick here. Now, the other thing I want to point to, again, just looking at Jarrett Allen, again, has been kind of underwhelming this year. But looking at all these games without Mobley and Jarrett Allen, and he's going to get 20-plus minutes. He was over this in 81% of games over the last 3 years in 21 game sample size. So we know Jarrett Allen can score the points, and this is a good defensive matchup for pretty much anyone here in the lineup. So Jarrett Allen, I think, is going to have the easiest time. And again, Suns, great defense, but they're on a back-to-back. We'll see what happens here. 13.5, I love it. 14.5 gets a little bit sketchier, but I honestly would still take it. And I do really like the data point that we got him having 16 points against this team earlier in the year in 27 minutes in a 16-point victory. RotoWire right now has him projected for 31 minutes in this game. So he should get the time in the court. I think he's got the softest matchup against a good defense overall. So that's who I'm going to ride with. Jumping into play number 2, this is a game that when I was first looking at the game, I was like, ew, I'm not touching that. Luka's questionable. Austin Reeves is questionable. There's a bunch of questionable tags for the Wizards. But that means there's some potential that some of these guys come back. Guys like Marvin Bagley could potentially come back. He's questionable in this game. Guys like Vucevic or whatever I don't even know how to say the other center on the Wizards' name is, but he could potentially come back in this one. And those guys have missed the last 4 or 5 games. And because of that, Alex Sarr has been getting a ton of run in those games, and he's been playing really, really well. The Wizards have actually won a couple of these games too. But now they get the Lakers, and it's a weird matchup overall that we're going to have to break down. But Alex Sarr, I'm thinking in a back-to-back set with potentially some centers coming back in the rotation, pretty much maxing out at 31 minutes here, but still stayed under, and then like 28, 27 minutes here. This is a weird matchup too. So the minutes we just determined, I don't think he's going to get more than 31 minutes in this game. We'll see what happens with the center depth if Bagley and the other guy comes back. But this is also just a weird matchup because this Lakers team has defended centers very, very well. They rank number 2 in terms of points for centers allowed. In these challenging matchups, Sarr's only over this in 25% of games. And weirdly enough, they do allow a decent amount of points in the restricted area, which means they're pushing centers out of that restricted area and they're letting guys in the pick and roll be able to attack the rim. So like guards and stuff are being able to get into the points or into the restricted area and score there. But centers in general, I don't think are doing too much damage there. You can see the pick and roll big man, they rank 30th. But if you looked at a different guy, I'm sure your pick and roll ball handlers probably scoring a little bit in those actions. I pulled up Kaishan George. He's their main pick and roll ball handler. They do rank 18th there. And you also see similar players, a lot of players going over their lines that can work in this pick and roll ball handling. So if you don't love the Alex Sarr under, maybe look at a Kaishan George or a pick and roll ball handlers over. The only problem with that is it's a back-to-back set. And again, this is a 9-point spread. So that's what I'm determining on that. And then you look at the other thing, it's like, okay, so they have a weak dominant scoring zone, that weak interior restricted area defense. Even in favorable matchups, Sarr's only over this in 38% of games. So both of those stats look pretty good to me. This is another thing. It's a back-to-back. It's Sarr maybe potentially losing minutes. If Sarr's going to get, let's go to the minutes tab, and he's going to get 30-plus minutes, we're going to get cooked here in a game like this. I don't think he's going to get more than 30 to 38 minutes. Let's drop that down to 31, which is his max on a back-to-back this year, and then put it to like 25 to 31. Now he's only over this in 30 minutes. So I don't think it's the most amazing matchup for him, even though they do allow a whole bunch of points in the paint. I don't think it's a lot of centers hurting them in the paint. And then again, the whole back-to-back situation, the whole, question marks on the centers potentially coming back. I think we're better on an avenue to the under, and that sometimes is, what makes a good play. So Alex Sarr has been cooking. I don't know if it's going to continue today against the Lakers. So I'm taking my chances on the minus 105 under 19.5 points. And the last thing I'll drive home about Alex Sarr is he's averaging 28.6 minutes per game on the season. But without Marvin Bagley, this does jump up to 33.1. And this is what he's done without Marvin Bagley in the lineup. 50% of games he's going over. And then with Marvin Bagley in the lineup, he's going to be right around that normal average of around 28 minutes per game. So if we can get one of the centers back, I love this play. If we don't get Marvin Bagley back, if we don't get Vukovic back or whatever his name is, then we might get cooked. He might play 35 minutes in this game, even though it's a back-to-back. So, but this is the kind of the angle that I'm looking at. And again, I like the avenues. Even with Marvin Bagley out of the lineup, again, he's only over in 50% of them. I still got a couple more plays for you guys, but if you could do me a favor and sign up for Pickett, it's a free bet tracker for you guys to use. Again, totally free to sign up. When you use code RichPicks when signing up, also link in the description down below, you get $300 or $100 when you sign up and sync your first sports book. That's all you got to do. When you go in there, you sync your sports books, whatever ones you're on, and it's going to tell you how you're winning or you're losing. Obviously, if you're losing, you need to change some things up, but you also, if you're doing pretty well, you got a pretty good recipe. It will show you what leagues you're doing the best in, what players you're doing the best in. Really, really cool app. And again, no brainer. Sign up with code RichPicks. Get $300 or $100 after you sync that first sportsbook. Move along to play number 3. This is actually in the same game as the Cavs over that I have, the Jared Allen over that I have. But I'm taking Mark Williams on the under. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Again, this is a back-to-back set for the Suns. And in back-to-backs, I guess I'll just point that right away. He hasn't got this in back-to-back yet all season. He's only played 3 of them. But he's also only played 18, 21, and 11 minutes in these games. So that means if he's maxing out at 21 minutes in these games, he's not going to play. He's not going to go over this many times. Only over in 2 of 13 games. If he gets 15 to 21 minutes, only over in 2 of 11 games. So I'm expecting him to not get a ton of time. He's already been losing a decent amount of minutes in games without Booker. He's only over this in 42% of games, averaging around the same amount of minutes, 23 minutes per game. And I don't like this matchup either for him. Now, there's no Mobley. That could definitely hurt this team defensively, but within 10 feet, they rank 6th overall, and they did just play the Lakers. Jackson Hayes got there in 18 minutes, but DeAndre Ayton didn't get to his line. They knew he was going to be on a limited minutes restriction. He only played 19 minutes. His line was 17 and a half, and he had 14. And then you look at Wendell Carter Jr. as well, also didn't get the lines the last 2 games they played him. So this is still a pretty good defensive team down low. It's not the Detroit Pistons, but within that restricted area, that's 77% of his shots, 13th ranked there. 21% of his shots come within the paint. They're 6th ranked there. Again, Mobley's not there. I don't have the stats to show that they're still good without Mobley, but I think a team that's ranked, 6th defensively within 10 feet will probably be able to continue to, throw another guy out there. Mobley, great defensive player, but I just don't like Mark Williams' minutes potential in this one. So they're a good defensive team overall. It's not the best matchup in the world. It's not the hardest matchup in the world for Mark Williams to stay under, but this is definitely a minutes play. Again, going over to the Phoenix Suns, we can go to the projected minutes. Mark Williams projected for 26 minutes. They have him as expected minutes here, 20 to 30. I don't completely agree with that. I would say like 26, again, being kind of the max, and like seeing like 16 to 26 minutes. only over in 35% of games. And again, has not been playing well. A lot of these overs are probably coming around this earlier spot in the season. So I'm not liking Mark Williams' game right now. I've watched him the past few games. We took his under yesterday, and now we're getting an 18.5 points rebounds line at minus 102. I'll take my chances against the Cavs. Now, the plan was to get one more play, but honestly, I think I'd just be forcing something at this point. I do not like the slate. It's a big slate, but not a lot of value popping out to me. There's a couple guys unders that I'm attacking, like Alex Sarr and Mark Williams lines, just because they're both on a back-to-back, and I don't really love their matchups. But even Jared Allen and Mark Williams, I'm only throwing a 3/4 units on them. I'm not throwing a full unit, because those guys are in the same game. And these aren't honestly, these don't feel like home run plays. A lot of the plays we've attacked recently have felt like home run plays, and I'm not seeing a ton of those on the board available right now. So I'd just be forcing something if I attacked more lines. I did record the breakdown of who's playing and projected minutes and injuries and things like that already. I'm about to show that now at the end of the video if you want to stay tuned for some of my thoughts on that. But yeah, not my favorite slate in the world. And there's even a couple games that I attacked that I was like, I probably don't even like these games because of all the question marks and injury news and back-to-back sets. It's a weird slate. Big slate, but a weird one. So yeah, here's the recap of what we talked about. Jared Allen over his 13.5 points. If this gets to 14.5 points, I do not like it as much, to be totally honest. He's just landed on 14 a few times, but I do think he does have the best matchup. No Mobley on the team, no Jared Allen on the team or in this game today. So I'm only throwing 3/4 unit on it because on the other side of the court, I'm taking an under on Mark Williams. Back-to-back situation. He's not looked good recently. I don't think he's going to get a ton of minutes today. But again, we attacked his under yesterday, and that hit for us. So does he bounce back from that? I don't know. So it's only a 1/4 unit on that as well. Alex Sarr, I do like the potential for some centers coming back, but if they don't come back, then we might get cooked. He might play more time than I'm expecting, but I don't like this spot for him either. And then the Brooklyn Nets, tough team to root for. They're not very good, but they do have the best player in this game, and they're going up against a team that does not win many games without Lauri Markkanen. So that's the 4 picks. Is my favorite 4 picks in the world right now? Yes, but not a great slate for me. So that's it for the recap. And now we'll hop into, if you guys want to stick around, all the news for the teams and the games, projected minutes for people playing. So this isn't going to be everyone's favorite slate in the world either, and I'm not going to run through the whole thing. There's so many injuries. I could look at projected minutes, and they could be completely different a few hours from now. But I will mention some injuries to obviously look at. Luka and Austin Reeves potentially playing for the Lakers or not. Reeves hasn't played in a while, and Luka's obviously need to know who's playing for that one. And the Wizards are on a back-to-back. So this game in general, going to be pretty hard to understand who's playing unless you're getting a market signal from somewhere. You're seeing money come in somewhere, which is honestly something I like to check. So with all these question marks, sometimes money signals can make me say okay, I think he's probably going to play or he's probably not going to play, and that can go into some of my plays honestly. For the Wizard side of things, again, question marks here and there, but the top guys should get the minutes, but they're on a back-to-back, so you never know. Kaishan George, Bob Carrington, Alex Sarr, 9-point spread. You never know what's going to happen with the Wizards, to be totally honest. Sacramento and Boston, 11-point spread, but Jaylen Brown's doubtful. Huge uptick in on-off-court stats, usage rates, and everything like that without Jaylen Brown in the lineup. Pritchard, White, Simons, main 3 guys, obviously, but Hauser's going to get an uptick in shots, probably. Hugo and Jordan Walsh should get some extra time. And the Sacramento, how are you 11.5 points and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are playing? Kind of sad for the Kings, honestly. Memphis and New Orleans, Ja's out, Zach Edey's going to be out, Santi Aldama's out, ton of injuries here, obviously. So here's the projected minutes there real quick. You can pause the video. Pelicans are fully healthy, so we've seen them. We've seen this movie before. Nice to see them nice and healthy. Denny Advia is a question mark for the Portland Trailblazers. Josh Hart and Miles McBride, Deuce McBride for the Knicks, but that's what we got going on for them. Toronto and Orlando, no Pirtle still, but they're getting a little bit more healthy. Would like to see their starting center out there, but at the same time, nice to see a rookie playing well for them, or I think he's a rookie. Orlando, Franz Wagner continues to be out, so Anthony Black is going to get that extended run. We've seen Desmond Bane, Paolo. They're going to get the majority of the minutes, and then guys off the bench can obviously play themselves into a little bit more. Clippers and the Nuggets. Obviously, Nuggets dealing with a ton of injuries. Now Aaron Gordon's out for a few weeks. Christian Brown's still out, and Jokic, obviously the biggest name there. For the Clippers, you got to know if Kawhi's playing. He changes the whole trajectory of that team, I would say. Cleveland and Phoenix. Cleveland, no Garland, no Mobley. Huge, uptick in minutes and usage for a lot of these guys. Donovan Mitchell takes it a lot of into his own hands. Jared Allen, Tyson, Jalen Tyson's the guy we've always continued to look at. For Phoenix, still no Booker, but they continue to win games. It's absolutely wild. Dylan Brooks looks like he's Michael Jordan. What do you have, 40 yesterday? But they're at a back-to-back, so just keep that in mind. They are underdogs in this one after being favorites yesterday against the the Pistons. Then we got Brooklyn and Utah. A bunch of injuries here. For Brooklyn, you don't really, again, same thing. You don't know who's going to play. You don't know how many minutes everyone's going to get. You just know Michael Porter Jr. is going to shoot a million times. Is he going to put him in the basket like he did yesterday? Then finally, Detroit and the Golden State Warriors. Detroit fully healthy as of right now, but they are in a second half of a back-to-back. So just keep that in mind. They did lose yesterday by a decent amount, so maybe they want some revenge here. But they're 2.5-point underdogs. The Warriors are the home team. They do have Steph Curry. Obviously, no Jonathan Kuminga. Obviously, no Jimmy Butler. And Podziemski, Moses Moody, I think, are the two guys that get the biggest uptick from without those guys on the floor. You can see DeAnthony Melton, but again, just not consistent minutes for me. Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody are the two guys that get a big jump, but they're also getting consistent runs. So that's my take on the games. Again, I could do a deeper dive on this, but it would just be a super long video. And I'm going to put this clip at the end of the video, even though I recorded it earlier. These are just my initial thoughts on the games, projected minutes, all the injury news. And again, you want to know who's playing and who's not. And some of these, there's just too many question marks. So that'll do it for me in this one. Here is the recap again, just kind of flashing it one more time. We already went over the recap, and then I gave you guys the earlier recording that I made when I first looked at the games, who's playing, projected minutes, and things like that. So kind of just my thoughts on it raw and when I was first looking at it. But that will do it for me in this one. So thank you guys for watching. Is it my favorite slate in the world? Absolutely not. But I did find some angles that I'm liking. Played a little bit more conservatively with the 3/4 units for Jared Allen, 3/4 units play for Mark Williams as well. And then, plus money attack on the Nets, just because I think the Jazz are just so bad without Lauri Markkanen, and they might have a good defense, this Nets team, for a guy like Keontae George, who really willed them to their only victory without Lauri Markkanen this season. And then Alex Sarr, I'm hoping one of those centers comes back. I did see some sort of market movement to kind of indicate that they might come back. But even if Mark Bagley doesn't come back and they get one center back, they won't want to run him into the ground in a blowout, and they also won't want to run him into the ground in a back-to-back set here. So that'll do it for me. I gave the best picks I could. I'm definitely going to continue to look through the board as we get more and more injury news. If you're interested about all my plays, there's a link in the description down below for my Discord community. That's where you get access to all my plays and a pretty fun community. So definitely check us out there. And we continue to roll in January. Again, I shouted it out at the beginning of the video. We're cooking recently. So hopefully you guys are enjoying. Thank you so much for watching. If you could like the video, get it to 100 likes. I'll add a pinned play comment down below later on in the day. And comment something down below. I love reading your comments, and it kind of keeps me going here. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Good luck with all your bets. Happy Friday. Peace out.